So I don't know about you, but one of the things that I would like to accomplish in my life is to master a second language. In my case, the second language I would like to master is Spanish. And I also want to raise my children to become bilingual in both Spanish and English. That's the reason why I decided to write my paper on the benefits that come from being bilingual or multilingual. I realized very quickly that there were so many benefits than what I thought originally going into it. The main benefit I, of course, thought of was that head start it's going to get me in the job market. It's going to be the difference of me getting the job and someone who only speaks one language getting the job. There's so much more to that. There's so many other ways that it benefits the individual and ways that it could benefit our society as a whole. The first thing I learned about was the effects that speaking multiple languages has for a child. And it's common for children who speak multiple languages to have a more nimble mind, which means that they're more adept to abstract thinking and problem solving or things like that. And it actually causes them to be better at verbal learning because bilingualism requires more mental activity than only speaking one language, because we're activating different parts of our brains, which brings me to the structural difference in our brain that is seen through a lot of research and scholarly articles that I read. Our brains as bilinguals are extremely different from that of monolinguals, and there are parts that we are activating through speaking multiple languages that remain dormant otherwise. Another very interesting thing that I learned that I had never heard of before was speaking multiple languages can also cause a later onset of dementia and other declines in like our neural efficiency or our cognitive processes and anything that really requires our brain. But when we speak multiple languages, it offsets these declines. And how amazing is that that can be seen through statistics, and it's not like tiny every little once in a while. It's very common and significant. Another thing I learned was about language aptitude tests, and having any knowledge of another language, even if it is not the language you're testing in, is shown to significantly increase your score. And I don't know exactly how that works, but it's been proven time and time again that even if you've heard just a little bit of Spanish in high school and you take an aptitude test in, let's say, English, your score is going to be higher just having any prior knowledge to another language. One of the most interesting things that I learned that I will share with you quickly because my time is running up, but an emotional recall amongst bilinguals is different than that of monolinguals, and depending on the language in which something is talked about, say if I spoke English and Spanish and something tragic happened to me in Spanish, if I talked about it in Spanish, it would bring a different intensity of emotion than it would if you talked about it in English. And so, like, you can see right there that if you wanted to be a psychologist, there is a benefit there because you're going to be able to access different emotions if you can speak to your patients in different languages. And finally, I will just quickly touch on the benefits that bilingualism could have for United States in particular, because I'm assuming that is where we all live. But the ability to speak in the world's many diverse languages, especially, they're just increasing with rapid globalization. But we need to embrace all this diversity in these different languages, most importantly to connect with people around the world for trade, diplomacy, security, and scientific advancement. So it's clear that being able to speak languages should not be something that we've commonly assimilated it. And we want people who come to America to speak English and be like us, but instead we should be embracing the diversity in the languages and connecting with people around the world instead of kind of just becoming this English-speaking country where if you speak Spanish at home, it stays at home. And in turn, I just feel that more people should be striving to learn a second language because it could benefit not only themselves as an individual, but our society as a whole. And thank you so much for your time. I hope that this maybe made you want to take a second language class next semester. But either way, good luck on finals, you guys.